Hello everybody, welcome to Jet Central here at Jets TV. Please comment, rate, subscribe guys, comment, rate, subscribe, and like the videos. As usual guys, you guys know, you comment, I'll respond, no big deal. Hit me in my inbox if you need to, no problems. Go ahead, let's start week 7 recap. Start with my first game, San Francisco 13, Seattle 6. This game was definitely offensively not what I expected. I expected a little bit more, but both quarterbacks are pretty pedestrian. Wilson only 9 for 23. He threw for 122 yards. He also had an interception. Alex Smith, 14 to 23, 140. He had a touchdown and interception. He threw the touchdown to Walker, the backup tight end. Wasn't super special as far as throwing the ball. Only thing that really separated San Francisco in this game from Seattle was the fact that San Francisco was just able to run the ball a lot better later on in the game. Frank Gore had 16 carries for 131 yards. A lot of his yards came late in the third quarter, late in the third quarter, fourth quarter to really put the game away for San Francisco. They were able to just rip runs off of like 20, 15, 20, 25 yards. I mean, just chunks of yards. And that really just pushed San Francisco. They were able to kick a field goal late, 28-yard field goal. Akers put that in, and it really just pushed San Francisco to get the win. So hats off to them. Got themselves a win, got me a win as well. Next game I want to talk about, Dallas at Carolina. I took Carolina in this game, and Carolina lost. Dallas 19, Carolina 14. Carolina at the end of the day did not make enough plays, and they didn't capitalize enough to win the game. Cam Newton had 6 carries for 46 yards, 21 of 37 throwing the ball, 233 throwing the ball. He had a TD, but he also had a red zone interception. And you can't do things like that when you're not putting up enough points like Carolina isn't doing. Outside of the fact that their whole franchise is just in disarray right now. You have to punch it in. When you're in the red zone, you have to punch that in. You cannot have red zone turnovers. And he threw a bad red zone interception. He threw a bad interception in the end zone, period. Point blank. That to me is what really separated Carolina from Dallas in this game. Because Tony Romo he had a decent day, 24, 34, 227. He had a TD throwing the ball. But outside of that, Miles Austin had 5 catches for 97 yards, but there's really nobody outstanding after that. Felix Jones only had 44 yards rushing the ball, so it wasn't like Carolina gave up a gang of yards. It was just the fact that Cam's got to learn how to lead this team a lot better. And after the game, everybody kind of made a big stink about him getting up on the podium and basically playing the woe is me, play the violin, oh, this team is just, our vibe is bad, and this is bad, and that is bad. Man, I don't care about none of that, Cam, because you can get up there and catch a bullet for the team if you want to. That's great. But at the end of the day, it starts with you, yo. You've got to play better. You've got to play better. You cannot throw red zone interceptions. You need to start making calls better so that you don't have to always leave the pocket because you're not calling your scheme or you're not shading your blocking correctly. You need to start recognizing defenses a lot better. That's just period. So it all starts with Cam Newton, all right? But at the end of the day, Dallas got the win. Hats off to them because that got me a loss. Next game I want to talk about, which wasn't much of a game, but Baltimore at Houston. I took Houston this game, got me a win. Baltimore 13, Houston 43. When is the last time we've ever seen Baltimore give up 43 points? When does that happen? I don't think that's ever happened since I've watched them give up. Since I've watched them, just growing up like in football. I don't think I've ever seen Baltimore give up 43 points the way that they gave up 43 points to Houston. This was just utter domination by the Houston Texans. Period. Matt Schaub had a pretty decent day, 22 of 37, 253 throwing the ball. He had 2 TDs. Arian Foster had 98 yards on the ground. He had 2 TDs. On the flip side of that, outside of Houston's offense performing, Houston's defense was ridiculous. Joe Flacco, he threw, he had 147 yards. He was like 21 of 43. He had a TD, but he also had 2 bad interceptions, one of which got ran back for a pick 6. Ray Rice only had 42 yards in this game. Torrey Smith, which was the leading receiver in this game, he only had 41 yards. I mean, Baltimore's offense just looked lackluster. That whole team just looks down. And I understand that Ray Lewis is gone for the season, and I understand that Ed Reed is struggling with that labrum, but there's just no excuse for them to come out and just play the way they played. It was just such a poor performance. It really, really was. But, I have faith in Baltimore, and I know they'll get back up from this one, but this was a bad one. This was just a shellacking by the Houston Texans. So hats off to them. They got themselves a win, and that got me a win as well. Next game I want to talk about is Detroit at Chicago. Neither one of these offenses necessarily looked stellar. Chicago's offense looked better than the Lions, but when you really look at the facts, Chicago Bears didn't put up many points. Detroit 7, Chicago 13. It wasn't like, even though Detroit was playing just horribly offensively, I don't think there was any span in this game where they were necessarily out of it. I mean, the Chicago only scored 13 points. Matt Stafford, 28 of 46. He had a TD. He also had an interception. But their running back, LaShore, was fumbling and bumbling all night long. He had a fumble in the end zone. He had a fumble coming down the field. I mean, it just was no good. It was just turnover after turnover from this running back. And that's what basically kind of gave Chicago the game. Jay Cutler, 16 to 31. He had 151 yards. He had a TD. Brandon Marshall was getting loose. He had 6 catches, 81 yards. He had a TD. This is one of the first games where I've seen Cutler and Marshall kind of be on the same page about some things as well. Matt Forte had 96 yards on the ground. Chicago's defense played very well as well. But, outside of that, it was just turnover after turnover from Detroit, and there was no balance. Nate Burleson jacked his knee up. He's done for the season. So you're starting to wonder who's going to be on the opposite side of Calvin Johnson. I mean, you got the young kid, Titus Young, but I don't know if he's shown us too much or shown us enough to where we can just say, hey, Titus Young is plugged in there, boom, he's ready to go. Not doubting his ability. I'm very sure he's pretty good. I've seen some flashes, but we don't know if he can put something together. But this offense in Detroit has got to get together. It's got to get balanced, and it's just got to get better because this is just not going to cut it. I understand Chicago's defense is very good, and they do a lot of things well, but there's no way you can come out and just play the way that they played. And that rookie running back, LaShore, he's got to learn how to carry the ball and hold on to the rock, because a lot of his fumbles were just poor carrying. It wasn't even like they were necessarily ripping him and stripping him and everything. It was just poor carrying of the ball. But Chicago got a win, and that got me a win as well, so hats off to them. Next game I want to talk about, and the game that everyone kept hitting me up about, New York Jets versus New England. I took New England in this game, and that got me a win, sadly. New York Jets 26, New England 29. A lot of people want to talk about a lot of things. Mark Sanchez, to me, in this game played decently. 28 of 41. He had 328 yards throwing the ball. He had a TD. He had an interception as well. Tom Brady played decently, 26 to 42. He had 259 throwing the ball. He had 2 TDs. We ran the ball fairly well. Sean Green had 16 carries and 54 yards. But at the end of the day, it's the fact that as a team this year, I see when the Jets have opportunities to really push ahead, take the bull by the horns, and win the game, we often drop those opportunities and fail. A lot of people want to talk about a lot of things. We can talk about, the play where Mark Sanchez hands the ball off to Sean Green. It's a bad handoff. Sean Green ends up fumbling the ball, and Mark ends up having to kick the ball out the end zone for a safety. We can talk about that. We can talk about the fact that we, on defense, we weren't as aggressive as I think we should have been. We really didn't send too many people to Tom Brady. We kind of gave him a lot of time to throw the ball. We can talk about just miscues on offense altogether, where guys running the wrong routes and tipped balls and bad interceptions. Stephen Hill dropping a for sure first down. As usual, we all come to know him as the rookie receiver with hands like bricks. We can talk about all that stuff. But I really want to sum this game up with one drive. 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. We have the ball. We're down 23 to 26. We're driving. I think we had the ball on like the 50 or the 40 of New England, okay? First down. This is our first down play. We come out. Mark runs a pass action. He runs a pass action, whips around. There's guys already on him. It's very clear you need to throw this ball away. There's nobody open. Instead of throwing the ball away, Mark rolls out to his right and continues to run towards the sideline. Everybody in the world that's a Jets fan is screaming, Mark, throw the ball away. Mark, throw the ball away. Mark, throw the ball away. He's outside the tackle. He could have just chucked it underhand out of bounds. Nobody would have cared. He pumps to throw the... I don't know if he was throwing the ball away or if he was just trying to pump. He pumped. A guy jumped up in the air. Right in front of him. Guy jumps up in the air. He continues to run and takes a sack. He continues to run and takes a sack. Mind you, we have 2 minutes left. We're down 23-26. This drive, and when I say this was the pivotal moment in the game. 2 minutes left. We're down 23-26. We have a chance to score a touchdown, win the game. Boom, game over. That drive, let me tell you what we did. We took 24 seconds off the clock. We took 24 seconds out of 2 minutes. We went -7 yards on that drive. We ended up kicking a field goal to tie it, and we gave New England the ball back. That's how things go. That's how things go. That to me was the pivotal moment in the game. That summed it all up right there. How do you fail to get the job done there? How do you take that sack, Mark? How do you take that sack? How do how does the offense not be able to move the ball a little bit closer to score? 2 minutes left. This is it. We end up taking the game in overtime. We lose the game. Period. You can't play for overtime. Like Herman Edwards said a long time ago, you play to win the game. You play to win the game. And I felt like we pretty much packed it up after Mark got sacked. We said, hey, we're packing it up and we're just going to kick this field goal. And we took it into overtime and they beat us 26-29. Bottom line, I felt our defense played well enough for us to win that game, but our offense has got to clean it up. We've got to clean up miscues. We really got to clean up some miscues. I really felt like we had a chance in that game, and I'm glad I didn't record a video right after it because I would have been yelling and screaming. But we've got to clean up our offensive miscues. And what's crazy is the fact that I'm starting to believe that we actually may play better without Santonio Holmes offensively than with him. Please comment on that, guys. Let me know what you guys think, because I'm seeing Jeremy Curley step up. I'm seeing Dustin Keller step up. I'm seeing Stephen Hill, even though he doesn't catch everything that comes his way. We all know that he's going to drop balls. But when he does catch balls, he makes some plays now. Now, he makes some plays. So please comment, rate, subscribe, guys. Comment, rate, subscribe. Like the videos. Thank you guys for watching. Be on the lookout for my week 8 picks video. Until then, thank you guys for watching, man. Peace.